Matt Monroe is currently starring at the Sands Hotel with one of my favorite performers, Mr. Shecky Green. So between the two, that's got to be one of the best shows in town. Matt is with us on our show for this morning, and needless to say, the album is a real treat. Matt, thank you very much.
My pleasure, thank you.
It's the one album, it's your compilation album, 20 Golden Greats from Matt Monroe, covering
That's right.
How long, how many years?
It's covering from, well, Portrait of My Lovers is the first hit record I ever had in England, that was. It was covered over here by Steve Lawrence. Yeah, I hate him.
Isn't that
Yeah,
funny?
that's right. That was 1960.
How dare him do that?
How dare you do? Actually, the follow-up, my first hit in America was My Kind of Girl. And I met Steve in New York, and he said, do you know, it's funny, he said, I was going to cover My Kind of Girl as well.
But anyway, it started there, and it's gone from, well, from Russia with Love. You also did the voice.
The soundtrack in the film, yeah.
Yeah, and that was, gee whiz, that was one of the big hits as far as films
it was enormous, yeah.
Big money maker and all that. And then Born Free, of course. You know, the great thing about a singer like you, Matt, is that your voice and your fame goes international. Not all American stars have that. You not only have your popularity here, but abroad as well. So that means you can work that much longer and more and make that much more money.
That's true. But then, again, the same thing happens in reverse. I mean, there are a lot of American artists that are enormous in England. You know, they come over, and you cannot get near the theatre. You know, it's as simple as that.
Wow.
So, for some reason, I am enormously successful in the Far East. Why, I don't know. We have hit records. For instance, in the Philippines, I hate to say this, but in the Philippines, my record of My Way was the hit.
Is that right?
Yes, it's weird. Yeah, believe it or not.
Speaking of, you know, different parts of the world, you played Jakarta, you were talking
That's
about.
right, I was there at Christmas.
For Christmas. This is a great story, only for the fact that, you know, when you're an American, you're living in the U.S., all these names and far reaches of the earth are, you know, are somewhat romantic, but with Jakarta, what was it like?
Jakarta is not the greatest place in the world to go to, but the people are nice, you know, and it's quite incredible because you go there and you think, Christmas and New Year's, what sort of audience are we going to have? And they say, oh, it will be local people, you know, Indonesian people. And it's rather frightening until you get out there and you realise that they know all the hit records anyway, which is the reason you're there in the first place, of course, you know. And we played for the 8 days, and I don't think there was a Western face in the audience ever. And we sold out for the week, you know. It was marvellous. We had a great time. But Indonesia itself is, don't get me wrong, Indonesia is a very beautiful country. Yeah. But it is a very underdeveloped country, as a lot of the Asian countries are. I mean, Jakarta itself is, well, a fairly modern city, apart from the traffic, which is insane. And I don't think anybody in Indonesia ever had a driving lesson. It's you never see any new cars. They're all old. And why they ever invented traffic signals, I shall never know, because they don't take any notice of them anyway. It's the survival of the bravest, you know. And nobody looks that way when you're driving. You just look straight ahead and just keep going.
Oh, I don't think I'd like that.
It's frightening.
Yeah. Are there any parts of the country, cities or otherwise, that you found a favorite of yours, like to play, either personally or professionally?
I love playing the Philippines, I suppose, basically because I am so successful in the Philippines. We play the Araneta Coliseum in Manila, and we play to 12,000 people per show, 5 nights a week. So, when we first went there, the Araneta Coliseum, it was a 27,000-seater, and we sold that out for 5 nights.
27,000?
130,000 people we played to. So, naturally, it's got to be one of my favourite places to go to, you know. And when I get, for instance, I get to Manila and I get off the aircraft, and it's security. I go straight through into the car, off to the. I don't see baggage. I don't see immigration. I don't see customs, and it's a great feeling. You know, I mean, I must be honest. It's one of the perks of being successful. I love it.
I don't blame you a bit. I think it's fantastic.
Then, of course, you've got to get your money out. But
you've been living in England. Well, actually, that is your home.
London's my hometown. Yeah.
I'm curious about how England is doing economically, their country, comparison to the U.S. or any other country.
it's tough. It's economically, it's not in a very good position at the moment. We have enormous unemployment. I think that when I left a couple of weeks ago, I think the unemployment topped 3 million. And in a country our size, that is not very good. And our industry is not in too good a shape. You know, we have a lot of internal strife, let's put it that way.
There's got to be a solution to that, Matt, because it is a small island of people. And,
it is a small island, yeah, and we've always, I suppose, our British pride, we've always been very self-sufficient, and it now is crisis conditions. I would say. I mean, I'm not great into politics or into economics or anything like that, but just as an ordinary working guy, I see it is bad. I mean, we feel it in show business particularly, because where you could go around the country and there would be sort of hundreds and hundreds of clubs to play. Now, you are looking for venues.
Really?
And where you used to do a week in a club in a certain area, now you will put 7 dates together and make them one-nighters. And if you do 3 nights in a club in England now, you're doing very well.
Well, you know, we've become rather, our attitude with the Americans, you know, in the United States with our economic problems and such, we are very touchy about it. But when you hear something like that, it doesn't seem very bad at all.
Yeah, we're touchy about it as well, you know, and it's not a thing that one discusses outside one's own country generally, you know. And we'll get out of it. We always have done in the past, you know. It's the true British grit, you know.
Well,
we'll get there somehow, one way or another.
You know, the English and the American, we've always been very close.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, how this country was founded, so... You know, your people are very dear to us politically and otherwise, so it's almost like what affects you indirectly may affect us.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if...
and vice versa.
And vice versa.
Very much so.
It would be nice if conditions might be able to change for the better.
Well, I think we've got a good leader, that's my opinion anyway. I think she's done a hell of a job, Mrs. Thatcher. And... you know, she's got great policies. Whether they ever work out or not, I don't know.
You know, I'm curious, Matt, about just touching on the politics for just a moment. The Falklands incident has, you hear so many sides of each side of the story, you know what I mean? But as far as the people are concerned, as far as the English are concerned, they were very supportive of that move. 100%
behind her, yeah. If we'd given it away, that would have been one thing, but somebody tried to take it, which is something completely different. You know,
and that's what that was the bottom line.
That's what it's all about, yeah. You don't invade our territory, you know.
Yeah. Do you get any, do you hear anything about the people in Argentina, the English people living in Argentina? Are they suffering from that move? Any repercussions there? On, you know, on the press and on television, we saw a lot that was happening with those. The English were very upset about it, you know, because the Argentines weren't very pleasant to the English. You know, some of their business establishments.
Well,
Have you heard
this is what I heard, because I record in Spanish as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I had an enormous market in South America. And I just signed a deal, funnily enough, to do 3 years, consecutive years, in South America, which obviously had to be cancelled.
Oh, what a shame.
And I heard, I don't know how true it is, but I heard that that was British record. Anything English was, you know, taboo. You just didn't. I mean, smashing up shops and records and displays and things like that. I mean, how true. I haven't been there since the Falklands situation, so I really cannot say firsthand. But from what I've heard, it was and is not very good at the moment. When the olive branch has been offered at the moment by our two countries, what transpires from that, I don't know. You know.
Well, it's unfortunate. Just I didn't realize you had been affected. Actually directly from it. So
I can't work in South America at the moment.
Or any English performer in general?
No, no English performers.
Whereas before, I'm sure you were probably welcomed with open arms.
Yeah, tremendous. You know, I've been to South America many times.
I understand, we'll get off this real quick, that there are supposedly oil deposits on that little tiny island, and that may have been the ulterior motive.
Well, from what quite honestly, Dennis, I don't know too much about that, but from its locale, I wouldn't have thought it was a very viable proposition, actually, to start drilling for oil in the Falklands. It takes like 3 years to get there. You know? Why anybody would want it in the first place, I don't know. But
how weird.
You know, this claim to sovereignty and all this business.
Yeah.
To me, it's a weird situation which should never have arisen in the first place. But it arose, you know, and it's one of those things that the likes of you and me will never understand. This is major politics. You know?
Matt, don't go away. We'll be right back. But we're going to take this commercial break, and we'll hear more from Matt Monroe in just a moment.
Born free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your...
I'm speaking with Matt Monroe, who's currently appearing at the Sands Hotel, and I gave you some of the selections from his album. This is one of your latest albums, your compilation album, all your hit tunes. I can't find a country western here, Matt. Well, actually, going to build a mountain. That's pretty close.
Not really. But strangely enough, I recorded a couple of country and western things about 5 years ago. And they went into the trash can so quickly that...
But where did you record them?
In London.
In London.
Yeah,
well,
I should have gone to Nashville.
You got to, Matt, you got to go to Nashville because they say that you know, they just... Well, didn't Dean Martin do that? Or
I think
the
so,
crooners, 2 or 3 of the crooners have
in
done
fact,
that.
we had Vera Lynn. I don't know whether you're familiar with Vera Lynn. Well, Vera Lynn is White Cliffs of Dover and We'll Meet Again.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She went to Nashville and made a hell of an album.
Really?
She really made a great album.
Huh.
Well, nobody, I mean, it wasn't actually a country and western, but the feel of it was so good, you know.
Well, I was just kidding in a way because some of the great crooners in the U.S. and I suppose abroad, like yourself, have made some country tunes that went very, very big. So, in fact, I remember Sinatra having one. I can't remember the name of it, but he got a lot of play on it, you know.
Well, Tom Jones he made a couple of
that's right.
country things.
Yeah.
But I covered a couple of things, and it's an art form, you know. It's like rock and roll. I mean, when rock and roll was the craze, I mean, in our business, you know, as being singers, you're looking for hits all the time. You know, if any singer says, "Well, I don't care if I never have another hit record," forget it. He's looking for a hit record all the time.
I hear you.
And so I tried rock and roll, and it was ludicrous. It sounded so bad, you know, because what these guys, they've got it's an art form in itself, I think, rock and roll, the same as country and western music.
Well, the beauty of it is, though, Matt, the crooners such as yourself, there's probably only a handful that have the fame that you have, and others in the U.S. and elsewhere, and your form of music is just as beautiful and is just as much loved by the millions as any other form of music.
It lasts, which is a good thing. And it's strange, you know, because you see the people that were fans when you started, and you see them go older with you, and suddenly you get a younger element is introduced. They have now matured to our sort of music. They've gone through the young teenage phase, and then they fall in love, and they get married, and they become more mature. And they make the transition into more melodic music. You know? And I think it's just a round-and-round thing, you know.
I had Robert Goulet on the show, and he was at one time, I don't know if he ever did this or not, I think he did. He was going to get his albums in the supermarkets. And the main thing of it was just to get the promotion or the exposure of the albums, because he didn't feel that they were given justice, you know, like a lot of the rock. Of course, everything is video now. I play a lot of music videos, so everything is now, even since that interview, which was a year ago, is very heavy music video. But I have often felt sometimes that the melodic, the Dean Martins, you know, the Matt Monroes, the Sinatras, you know, they're only heard on, you know, your middle-of-the-road music stations, and now like KORK is playing the oldies, you know. Well, listen, an oldie to them is 5 years ago or something, you know. It's hard to, what that fine line, you know, there are those in the 30s and 40s, but it's nice because they're, you know, like The Impossible Dream and From Russia with Love, those, and of course Born Free, they're going to be here forever.
Yeah. But you're talking about the supermarkets. A funny experience happened with me. I was in South Africa, which is another place I work, and the record company said we should do a PA and go down to one of the record stores, and we're promoting this album.
Do a PA?
Fact.
Did you?
Personal appearance.
Oh, okay, got it.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I said, well, I haven't done PAs for years of going into record stores, you know. It's so embarrassing. It really is, you know. They said, well, I think it'll be great. So I said, okay, fine. So they picked out a store, and we drove, and I get into this store, and everywhere's Matt Monroe with the albums, and I've got to go to the record counter and stand there and sign records. And I stood there for an hour and a half, and the lady that was selling records bought one. And that was the only record I sold in an hour and a half. I couldn't wait to go. I've never been so embarrassed in my life. I couldn't wait to get out of the
Was it a supermarket?
store. Yeah.
Oh,
I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah.
It was so embarrassing.
Well,
Not one person came up and asked for a record to be signed. Yeah.
maybe that's why I don't see goulets in the supermarket. Maybe that's just not the place to do it.
Never again.
They're just going to have to deal with the record stores no matter what. I know you live in England, Matt, and you're planning on maybe coming to Las Vegas to live?
Yes. I like Las Vegas. I lived in Los Angeles for about a year, and I now have a place in Florida which I use quite a lot. But this, the West Coast seems to be if you're going to sort of be in show business, which is my chosen profession, and it's been very, very good to me, and I love it dearly. This seems to be the side of the country to be on, and I would like to live here, actually. My wife is with me, and she's, as a matter of fact, I think today she's out looking for somewhere to live. You know, because if I'm going to be not working and I'm going to be in America, then I hate hotels because I live in hotels.
I understand.
So I'd like somewhere of my own to live. And rather than going all the way back to Florida and coming all the way back again all the time, you know, it's easier. And I like Las Vegas as a town, actually, because I don't really like, I'm sorry if anybody's watching from Los Angeles, to live, I don't like Los Angeles, because I think there's a lot of suburbs looking for a city center.
That makes a lot of sense. That was actually my next question about how you found Las Vegas as a city, as a potential home.
I love it because it's a very free and easy town. The people I've found so far have been very friendly. I mean, they don't know me too well, so that could change. But it's a good town to live. It's one of the few places you can go and get fresh air, which is a marvelous feeling. I love the climate, of course, because it does get cool here at times, this time of the year, which we're used to, being from Europe. It doesn't get cool in Europe, it gets bloody cold, which we don't really experience here. But strange enough, on one occasion I came to Vegas for the weekend. I wasn't working here. I came up from Los Angeles with some friends from London, and it snowed.
That was a few years back?
It snowed in Vegas. I was here.
Yeah, I remember that. I
couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, we came like this, you know, and it was so cold, it was unbelievable.
I remember that. Matt, good luck to you at the Sands Hotel.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
And with your Shecky Green there, he's marvelous.
He's
it must be a great. That seems like a perfect duo between you two.
Well, I've known Shecky for 20 years, and this is the first time I've worked with him.
Well,
and it's a joy. I go out every night and I catch his show. When I finish, I go upstairs and I get changed and come back and I catch the last 3 hours of his show.
Well, I'm sure you complement each other, and I wish you luck, and I hope you make your home in Vegas, and I'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thank you. Stay with us. We'll be back after this word.
Live free, and beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you. It's